I'm Shane White, and this is The Process.
Hey gang, Shane White here with another ink style video. But first, let me ask you for a favor. If you go down to the information section of this video and click the link to my Kickstarter, you'll be able to see the 170 plus page graphic novel that I'm trying to get printed. If you would like, you could pledge and get some really sweet merch, or give me a signal boost. I mean, that's always welcome. It runs until December 30th, and hopefully I can get this funded and it'll be a Christmas gift for all of us. All right, on to inking. The Moebius. Okay, full disclaimer. I'm a huge fan of all of Jean Giraud's work, but I make no claim that I have any insight into how he works. I'm just going with the feel. If you're not familiar with Moebius, do some research. The Inkhall, Blueberry, and Arzak are great places to start. What I understand from looking at the strokes on the page, I think he primarily used brush. I'm going more with how he laid down his strokes, open and airy. rhythm of line, strong negative space, and measured detail are also hallmarks of his work. What's interesting is I think he was definitely a product of the 60s, but he didn't fully succumb to what was going on in America, thankfully. I'm glad he didn't give in to the pseudo-psychedelic line work, but was more thoughtful and internalized a lot of that in the way the characters move through the stories. Anyway, onto the technique. I'm using pit pens, medium for the outlines and fine for the secondary lines. Small I'll use for the finest detail, but sparingly. This is a technique that also relies heavily on color, as Moebius did not spot a lot of blacks. He would, but he went about it sparingly, and in most cases he did his own coloring. What I like about this is it's meditative and it takes time. I love creating halftone lines on a piece, especially on metal and junky surfaces. Squinting to see how the rhythm and halftoning are working is essential. This approach might work well for a sci-fi book. It's what Moebius tended to use it for, especially when you want to create spatial massiveness. If you also look at the works of John Harris, he's a painter, you can see what understated detail in painting does to create the sense of awe. Well, that's it. I hope this technique is something you can add to your toolkit. And please, if you feel inclined, check out the Kickstarter for Braun Tectonic Shift. As always, thanks for watching.